Okay, alright. Add it up.
Hello and welcome to In the Community this Thursday. I'm Joe Dexter. Glad to have you along. And today a great show as we'll be joined by with Shelby Rhyne of the Great Rockingham County Tennis Association. Tennis, a huge part of recreation here in Rockingham County that we don't talk enough about in how much it can improve lives, whether you are an adult, whether you're an older adult, or whether you're a young child or even a high schooler. The tennis game is a great recreation thing that we can have here in Rockingham County that can really help us. And I just love tennis too. So I'm looking forward to talk to Shelby Rhyne of Rockingham County Tennis Association coming up here in just a bit. But first, want to remind you of Pick Fest taking place on Friday. Piedmont Instrument Classes for Kids is proud to announce that Grammy Award winner Dom Flemons will perform live right here in Rockingham County for our graduating banjo, fiddle, and guitar students. Pick Fest will be held on Friday, May 7th at Governor Moorhead Park in Eden and is free and open to the public. Masks are required for this event, and concert goers are asked to bring their own lawn chairs. The American Songster has performed at illustrious venues such as the Grand Ole Opry and has a repertoire of music covering over 100 years of early American popular music. Join us for Pick Fest on May 7th, a student appreciation concert for our graduating banjo, fiddle, and guitar students. To register, visit us right here on Facebook in our Eventbrite page to sign up for Pick Fest. It will have all that information for you on our social media. And enjoy this wonderful concert, a magnitude deserving for these students that have gone through so much this year and have grown their passion for traditional music. And a huge thank you to Piedmont Folk Legacies, the NC Arts Council, and the Rockingham County Arts Council for making this celebration possible for our music students. Tennis continues to surge across the U.S. and right here in Rockingham County, and it's National Tennis Month. So glad to be joined with Shelby Rhyne of the Rockingham County Tennis Association. Shelby, how you doing?
I'm just fine, Joe. Good morning. It's such a gorgeous May morning here in Rockingham County. I wish that I could take my computer out to the tennis courts and talk to you there, but instead I'm here at home and excited to have a chance to talk to you about tennis again.
So many great things going on with the Tennis Association and tennis here in Rockingham County as it continues to grow, not just nationally, but here locally. I mean, if you go to several of the parks here, whether it's JC Park or in Eden or some of the tennis courts at the high schools, you always see players playing.
Well, it's really been such an exceptional year for so many sports for children and adults. And tennis is one of the most naturally self-distancing sport. So even during our pandemic year, or how we're going to refer to 2020, we slowed down some planning for programming, but everybody took their rackets and went to the courts. So as you know, a tennis court is 78 by 36 feet, and you put either one or two people on either side of the net. So it was a great way for families and adults to stay busy. And now as the year's data is coming in nationwide, it turns out that it was a great year for people to come back to the courts. And in Rockingham County, we're back up and running with some fun programming and some good, exciting news too.
Why is it important to continue to grow tennis here, and why was it important for you to help with the Rockingham County Tennis Association?
Well, one of the things that happened for me, I grew up in North Carolina and then moved to Columbus, Ohio for 15 years. And while I was there, their community tennis association started showing, and actually nationwide, the United States Tennis Association invested in a new way of teaching tennis to children in particular, which let us use smaller rackets and lower bouncing balls. And it let us take tennis to where children were in schools, playgrounds, gymnasiums, to introduce the sport. So as a lot of us know, it's probably one, along with, I'll include golf there, of the lifelong sports that you can play. You can start early. And so I got really excited personally. And then we moved here to Rockingham County, where there are great tennis facilities already and a long history of tennis play here. But like many sports, things kind of cycle around. So it was a great opportunity to take this new USTA idea, partner with the schools to bring tennis into the gymnasium or on school campuses. So especially the elementary kids could start learning about sport and then take it to their local courts where it's free, no court fees, families can play together, and considered, if you look for data, to be something a regular tennis player can add 7 years to their lives.
Wow, that's a number within itself. And I think a big part of it is anything that we do as kids, we tend to hold on to as something special and something that we want to continue to do throughout our lives. That's why it's important, I believe, to introduce tennis at a young age and have these programs for children to experience what it's like. Because if we have a good time when we're a kid, we're going to continue doing it throughout our lives.
Well, and nationwide, and some in Rockingham County, young adults are returning to the tennis court. It's a great way to have a first date or to meet new players. We're in a smaller community here, but we're really a very convenient from Greensboro, Burlington, and Winston-Salem, which are longtime huge tennis communities. And though we don't have a lot of 20 and 30-somethings hitting the courts, we have a lot of high school players that are enjoying the sport here as part of their high school sports career.
Well, tell us some of the programs that are going on right now through the Tennis Association.
Well, one of our goals really is to connect our tennis partners in the community that own facilities or like the schools to programming. And so right now we have 2 partners that are offering their own tennis instruction at Deep Springs Country Club and at the Eden YMCA, using a coaching service out of Greensboro called Pat's Tennis Aces. And those programs, even though both the Eden Y and the Deep Springs are membership organizations, those clinics are open to the public. So it's a really important way for youth. Their classes for youth and adults at both locations, Tuesdays and Thursdays in Stoneville. Deep Springs is near Madison Mayodan on the western side of the county. And then at the Eden YMCA, where they have 4 clay courts. So it's a great way for youth and adults to get on the courts with a professional instructor. And usually during the year, we had in January some free classes for high school players to work with a tennis instructor. We actually have indoor tennis courts in our community that are in Mayodan. So the winter months, we offered some free programming for high schools, and we also offered a statewide program called Try Tennis, which kids and adults got a chance to get on the court. And that program is subsidized by our North Carolina Tennis Association. So it's inexpensive, and you get a new racket and a tennis gift along with 6 hours of instruction. We don't have the next Try Tennis session scheduled, but both Deep Springs and the Eden Y have announced their May and June schedules for clinics at their locations. So we're hoping that anybody that's looking for an opportunity to learn tennis with an instructor will find this information on our Facebook. Thank you to put it up there, as well as on our website.
Tell us a little bit more about some of the facility upgrades we're seeing. I noticed on the Tennis Association Facebook page that it looks like McMichael High School will have 6 new courts.
Yes, it's really exciting news for Rockingham County schools. And I did confirm with Sonja Parks, their vice superintendent there, that it was okay to talk about this, is they've been working for the past 4 years to find a tennis location for McMichael High School and Western Rockingham Middle School. And they've worked with the Timmons Group, which is their local engineering supplier, as well as the USTA, and have just announced that they'll start building a new 6-court facility. It's not going to be at McMichael High School. It's actually going to be behind Western Rockingham Middle School. And so it's only a few miles from the high school. It will be a school facility, so it'll be available to students and to the teams that play out of there. We have a girls middle school program in our county, as well as each high school has both men's and women's varsity teams. And then in a shared use agreement that exists in our community, the courts will also be open to the public after school hours or when the school designates that they're available. So I haven't actually ridden behind the middle school yet to see if the bulldozers have started. There's a lot of site preparation work, according to the information they shared, with the idea that if all goes well on a project like that, the courts might be completed late in the summer, end of July maybe, is what that was for. So, and for a community our size, 90,000 people roughly, we have some wonderful tennis facilities that have taken care of themselves and been upgraded. So even though the school system only owns one facility on their campus at Moorhead High School in Eden, the Rockingham County High School has a wonderful facility on the community college at their location, where there are 6 beautifully renovated courts. In Reedsville, the 8-court facility at JC Park has a long history of hosting events there, and those courts are lighted, and 4 of those courts were resurfaced recently. And then, so the western part of the county was really kind of lacking. The facilities that have been here over the years were older, and so it's really exciting news for the western side of the county and for those high school and middle school programs that we're going to have some new courts. We just never imagined that that would happen. And I will mention that McMichael Family Foundation has been a huge supporter of the school system in this particular project.
So anywhere you live in the county, you can pick up a racket and play, and that's pretty powerful to have in a community of our size. And also, I guess my question would be, what would your advice be to people that are interested in tennis but are afraid to pick up the racket?
Oh, well, don't be afraid. That would be my first advice. So often, this sport over the years comes and goes in popularity. And Eden, for instance, had a huge community tennis centered around the Eden YMCA while they had an executive director whose family was growing up there. But I think the tri-tennis program is a really great place to start because you're starting with other beginners. It's not an expensive sport. When parents contact me or adults contact me about getting started, or this last year finding equipment for their kids, our Walmart is our tennis equipment supplier. Rackets are reasonably priced. Balls are not that expensive. Tennis shoes are something we all have in our things. So I suggest that you look for this opportunity to find a tri-tennis session and start learning with other people. You also find a lot of programming I did want to mention one program where it's a good place to start is if your kids are already interested in tennis. At JC Park, we have a grandfather, Chuck Faint, and his granddaughter, Mariana, who host free opportunities for kids and adults to play on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's a great place that you can just kind of drop in and see some other players. And if you're developing your game, there's a place where you'll find players already on the court.
And don't worry, because nobody's going to be judged. Trust me, it's a very welcoming community. It's a very comforting community, and a place that it's so cool to see you guys work, because I see the passion that you have for this, and to watch you share that with others, whether they are younger or older, is just cool to see.
Well, and lots of times over the years that this will be our 8th summer, we started offering summer program, partnering with summer camps in summer 2014. And it's just every time you go out and you meet those kids on the court where they are, in summer camp, parents aren't usually there. But I like to say kind of the kids you follow your kids where they go. So if you'll go now to some of those kids 8 years later that are playing on high school teams, and you'll find parents sitting courtside or helping warm up, or in some cases helping volunteer with the teams. So I think it's certainly is a family sport that everybody can do. And plus we have, in the summertime, we use some high school, middle school players. We have a foundation grant from the Tennis Association that lets us do some outreach. And these kids take their rackets with them to college and play. That's a great way for them to meet other people. And most of the colleges have club tennis programs where kids are welcome to come out and play, as well as non-varsity, as well as traveling club programs if they're interested in taking their competition ahead with them.
Shelby Rhyne joining us with the Rockingham County Tennis Association on In the Community. Shelby, before we let you go, are there any other information or news that we should know about coming from Rockingham County Tennis Association?
No, I just want to say play more tennis. Grab your racket in a beautiful day and go out. We're so lucky to have the facilities that we have and the opportunity to have some instruction on a regular basis in the county. And I hope you'll enjoy playing this lifelong game. As you see, I'm a lifelong player. I started when I lived in a community where there was a tennis court I could walk to. And here we are now, all these years later, in Rockingham County. So tennis is a good thing.
She's Shelby Rhyne with the Rockingham County Tennis Association. Thanks for joining us today on In the Community.
You're welcome, Joe. Hope to see you again soon on the courts.
That's Shelby Rhyne, the Executive Director of the Rockingham County Tennis Association on In the Community. Such a great point. It's a beautiful day today. Today is this day to start a great recreation tool that we have right here in our community is tennis. To learn more about the Rockingham County Tennis Association, visit their Facebook page. It's full of information. Facebook.com/RC Youth Tennis. That's Facebook.com/RC Youth Tennis. I want to thank you for all of you for joining us here this beautiful Thursday on In the Community. Have a great day, be safe, and enjoy what we have here in beautiful Rockingham County.
Okay, all right.